I've been a cop for almost 12 years, and I've seen more than most people would believe. Fights, overdoses, domestic calls gone bad. The kind of things that keep you awake long after your shift ends. But there's one night that still sits heavy on me, and no matter how much time passes, I can't shake it. It was late fall, around 2 a.m., the deadest part of the night. I was working nights in a small town, the kind of place where the streets go quiet by 10 and the only real action is drunk drivers or the occasional bar fight. The call came over the radio. Unit 12, check out a 911 hang-up. Caller didn't respond. Address comes back to 148 Mill Road. Now, 911 hang-ups happen all the time. Kids playing with phones, pocket dials, nothing major. But policy says you check them all out. I knew the address. Mill Road was on the edge of town. Old houses, some abandoned, some barely holding together. The one at 148 had been empty for years. At least that's what I thought. I rolled up slow, headlights cutting across the overgrown yard. The house looked just like I remembered. 2 stories, windows boarded, paint peeling, roof sagging. No lights inside, no car in the drive. I parked, stepped out, and radioed in. Dispatch, Unit 12. I'm out at 148 Mill. No signs of activity so far. As I walked up the porch, the boards groaned under my boots. I tried the door. Locked. I circled around, shining my light through cracks in the plywood over the windows. Nothing. Then my radio crackled. Unit 12, be advised. We just got another call from that address. Same number. Open line, no one speaking. I froze, staring at the dark house. The place was supposed to be abandoned, and yet someone inside had just dialed 911. I keyed the mic. Copy that. Dispatch. I'll make entry and clear the residence. The truth? My gut was screaming at me not to, but you don't ignore 2 calls from the same number, not at that hour. I went around back, found a door that looked like it had been forced before. The lock was broken, so I pushed it open. The smell hit me first. Damp wood, dust, and something faintly metallic. I stepped inside, flashlight cutting through the dark. The beam landed on old furniture covered in sheets, broken glass crunching under my boots. It looked like no one had lived there in years. Police department, I called out. Hello? Anyone here? Silence. I moved through the kitchen, the living room, each step echoing too loudly in the empty house. My light swept over peeling wallpaper, graffiti, piles of junk left behind. Nothing out of the ordinary for an abandoned property. Then my radio hissed again. Unit 12. The line's still open. We can hear movement. Are you with someone inside? My stomach dropped. I hadn't heard anything. Negative, dispatch, I said slowly, scanning the hallway. I'm alone in here. And that's when I heard it. A single creak from upstairs. I froze, flashlight aimed at the staircase. The sound came again, a soft shift of weight on old floorboards. Police department, I shouted. If someone's up there, make yourself known. No answer. I started up the stairs, each step groaning under my boots. The beam of my light cut through the dust, landing on a long hallway lined with doors. Most were closed. One at the far end stood slightly open. I approached slowly, heart hammering in my chest. My hand hovered near my holster, not drawing, but ready. When I nudged the door open with my foot, the light swept across the room. Empty. Just bare walls and a broken chair in the corner. And then I saw it. The old, dust-covered rotary phone sitting on the floor. Receiver off the hook. The line was live. The sight of that phone made my skin crawl. No power in the house, no landline service for years. I knew that because half the utility boxes on Mill Road had been stripped by copper thieves. And yet the line was live, the faint hum of a dial tone buzzing in the silence. I crouched, staring at it. The dust around the phone was disturbed, like someone had just set it down. I keyed the mic. Dispatch, I've located a rotary phone inside. Off the hook. Line appears active. Confirm number? Dispatch came back. Confirmed. That's the same line the calls came from. You have contact with the caller? I swallowed. Negative. House appears empty. My voice echoed in that dead room. I didn't like how it sounded. Then, faint but clear, the receiver crackled. A voice, not through my radio, through the phone itself. Help. I froze. The sound was soft, strained, like someone whispering from far away. Hello? I said, before I could stop myself. Don't let him in. The line went dead. Just static. My blood turned to ice. Dispatch, I just heard a voice on the line, female, said, don't let him in. Do we have a trace on the call? There was a pause. Then, Unit 12, negative. We show no active call now, just your open radio channel. The temperature in that room seemed to drop 10 degrees. I stood, sweeping the light across the walls, the corners. Nothing but peeling wallpaper and dust, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. That's when the floorboards creaked again. Not upstairs this time. Downstairs, near the back door I'd come in through. I snapped my light toward the stairwell. The sound had been unmistakable, deliberate weight shifting on old boards. Not the house settling, not my imagination. I keyed the mic low. Dispatch, possible contact inside. Advise second unit. Copy, Unit 12. Backup en route. ETA 10 minutes. 10 minutes. In a dead house, 10 minutes is a lifetime. I descended the stairs slow, flashlight steady, hand on my sidearm. The beam cut across the living room. Empty. Kitchen. Empty. The back door still shut. Then I saw it. The receiver on the rotary phone, the one I'd left dangling, was back on the hook. My chest tightened. I hadn't touched it. Nobody had. The air felt heavy, like the whole house was holding its breath. I swept my light across the kitchen again, and the beam caught something. A shape. For half a second, in the reflection of the window, I saw a man standing behind me. I spun around, gun half out of the holster. Nothing. Just empty air and shadows stretching long across the floor. My heart was hammering, sweat dripping down my neck. Then my radio crackled. Not dispatch. A voice. The same strained female whisper I'd heard on the phone. He's already inside. I froze, staring at the mic clipped to my vest. The words weren't coming from the house. They were coming through my channel. Dispatch? I said, voice tight. But the line was silent. And then, from the hallway, the boards creaked again, closer this time. I turned toward the hallway, light cutting across peeling wallpaper and empty door frames. My pulse was a drum in my ears. Police department, I barked, louder than before. Show yourself. Silence. Then one slow, dragging step on the boards. I raised the flashlight, and for just an instant, the beam landed on him. A man, tall, shoulders hunched, face pale and indistinct, like seeing someone through fogged glass. He stood at the end of the hall, motionless, staring straight at me. Hands where I can see them, I shouted, but my voice cracked. My finger brushed the trigger, though I couldn't tell you why. I wasn't sure if what I was seeing even was a man. He didn't move, didn't speak, just lifted one hand slowly and pointed. Not at me, but at the phone upstairs. And then he was gone. Not walked away. Gone. Like he'd blinked out of the hallway. I swallowed hard, backing toward the front door, trying to control my breathing. My radio hissed again. This time it was dispatch, clear and calm. Unit 12, backup is pulling up now. What's your status? I wanted to answer. Wanted to say, I'm fine. Wanted to say, house is clear. But before I keyed the mic, I heard it right behind me, just over my shoulder. That same whisper. Don't let him in. I spun. The room was empty. And outside, through the broken blinds, I saw the headlights of another cruiser roll to a stop. My backup. I nearly stumbled for the door. But before I stepped out, the phone upstairs started ringing. Loud, shrill. Over and over. The ringing cut through me like a blade. In an empty house, abandoned for years, a deadline should never come alive. And yet it did. Shrill, steady, insistent. I stood frozen in the doorway, backup's headlights spilling across the yard outside, safety just a few steps away. But the ringing wouldn't stop. It felt like it was aimed at me, like if I left without answering, I'd never really leave this place behind. So I climbed the stairs. Each ring echoed through the walls, louder, sharper, until I reached the room at the end of the hall. The rotary phone sat exactly where it had been. Only now, the dust around it was gone, as if it had just been placed there. My hand shook as I picked up the receiver. The ringing stopped. For a moment, there was only static. Then that same strained female voice, clear as if she were right beside me. "You let him in." My stomach dropped. "Who? Who's in here?" The line hissed, cracked, and then fell silent. And from downstairs, I heard the front door creak open. "Unit 12? My partner's voice called. "You in here?" I nearly collapsed with relief. I shoved the receiver back on the hook and rushed down, meeting him in the doorway. We cleared the house together, top to bottom. Empty. No sign of anyone. No sign of the man I'd seen. The phone upstairs? Deadline. No dial tone this time. Officially, the report said, false 911 calls, no contact. That's what went into the system. That's all the town ever knew. But I know what I heard. I know what I saw. And sometimes, late at night when I'm on patrol and the radio crackles with static, I swear I hear her voice again. "Don't let him in." And I wonder if next time I'll be fast enough to keep the door shut. Thanks for listening. That's how this story ended. With a call that should never have happened, and a voice I still hear in the quiet. Have you ever had an emergency call or strange encounter that stayed with you? Drop your story in the comments. Someone out there needs to hear it. And if this one gave you chills, don't forget to like and subscribe. More real stories, raw, haunting, and unforgettable, are coming soon.